Watch the hair just slowly fall. I did over the course of the podcast.
Gravity takes control of it.
It kind of does. It's like, okay, I give up. Drop.
Flop. Hi, everybody.
Hello, we are live.
All right. Oh, I need to run Audacity. Hold on.
Oh, the Audacity.
I know.
All right. So we have 1 week into 2022, and at least one of our friends has told us that they're pregnant.
I know, right? Well, we got a weekend before we started seeing stuff like that.
I know.
All right.
Well, see, you saw just the Blitz, right? I had two other people on my feed announce that they were pregnant as well.
I only know about Blitz.
Yeah, two other people. One I'm in the other fantasy football league with.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to in football or games. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so since you do the front half, should you do the intro now?
I guess I can do the intro.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense. I thought about that earlier. I was like, you know what? That probably makes more sense. Okay. And 3, 2.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Media Boat Podcast. This is episode 313?
312.
312. Tomorrow's 3. Next week.
Yes, 312. 312.
Okay. Yep, 312. This is the Media Boat Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything music, video games, TV, and movies, in that order. My name's Mike. His name's Matt.
Except not in that order. Yes, my name is Matt. His name is Mike. Welcome. As he mentioned, all that stuff and more. News about things, thoughts about things. This is our second show of the new year, 2022.
If you missed our first show, it's because we recorded on New Year's Day.
Yes.
And what a day it was.
What a day.
Celebrating the end of 2021, welcoming 2022. We should get rolling right into things.
That was me welcoming it.
As you welcoming everything.
Welcome.
Well, as you welcome us into the new year and to the second episode of season 6.
Hey.
By the way, if you've missed any previous seasons or want to see a wrap up of previous seasons, you can listen to our archive feed in your local podcast catching feeds.
Yeah.
We're everywhere.
Just search Media Boat Podcast. You'll find us. Trust me, you'll find us.
Yes. There's only one other media boat out there, and that is in New York.
So
unless you're talking about the media boat that ruined the Olympics.
We're the West Coast media boats. Everybody knows
We're
that.
the podcast media boat, so that's how you know it's us.
Yes.
So let's get rolling right into this episode, and we start with music, and we start music with the Billboard. We start the Billboard with the Hot 100.
So what am I listening? Well, what's the hottest songs in the land this week?
People are still stuck in Christmas.
Apparently, yeah.
With the delayed Christmas, people who did have delayed Christmas because of rising COVID, decided that all they wanted for Christmas was Mariah Carey with All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Mm-hmm.
Still, your number one song. Without it go away this week, I guess we'll see next week if it go away.
Maybe there'll be a drop off. Some things maybe came out this week that maybe dethrone it.
Oh, something. Well, we'll get to that in a quick minute here. Mm-hmm. At number 2, Easy on Me by Adele. Mm-hmm. Bumped it up from number 5 to number 2. So things are starting to swing in. But that's the only shakeup. As number 3 is Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree by Brenda Lee. Mm-hmm. Number 4, Jingle Bell Rock by Bobby Helms. And rounding out your top 5, A Holly Jolly Christmas by Burl Ives.
Yep, the usual suspects this time of year. Until next week.
Well, usual suspects at the end of the year during Christmas. As for your Billboard 200, your albums chart, Adele still on top with number 1. Mm-hmm. Well, which was 30 at number 1.
Yes.
At number 2, Christmas by Michael Bublé. At 3, Red, Taylor's version by Taylor Swift. Coming in at number 4 is Sour by Olivia Rodrigo. And rounding out your top 5, why is he up here? Dangerous, the double album by Morgan Wallen.
He followed us into 2022.
So I had an interesting conversation with the doctor about listening to Morgan Wallen.
Okay.
And I explained that it was okay, but I also listened to it before it was the double album. Mm-hmm. and I still didn't like it that much. I don't know why people are just like championing this thing. There's other good country artists out there.
It's
especially fancy like
confusing. It's confusing.
I don't know.
Yes, especially the Applebee's song.
Yes. But if you want to help dethrone Morgan Wallen out of the top 5, well, you don't have to try that hard because we have new releases.
Yes.
And actually, we start with surprise new release by The Weeknd.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, surprise album.
Surprise album. Dawn FM by The Weeknd. I guess he wanted to wait a whole week into 2022 to surprise us with The Weeknd.
Yeah, so news came out early this week that there was going to be a surprise drop on Friday. We saw album art, which is The Weeknd as an old man. We saw some guest spots that include Jim Carrey. I'll get there. But yeah, it was out of nowhere. The Weeknd, of course, this is his follow-up to After Hours, the big Grammy snubbed hit album that he did the Super Bowl off of, essentially.
Yes.
And yeah, it was a big deal for him. This is following in the footsteps of that. And yeah, I'll have more to talk about that in a moment.
Oh, I also listened to this thing, and we'll talk about it in a moment here.
Yes.
And technically, that is the big news of the week, that surprise album drop. So we'll get to that in a bit here. But there are other albums coming out or that you can listen to. So this is the list of that just came out or coming out next week as well.
So the rest of these are going to come out on Friday, this coming up Friday.
All right. So coming into your news, into your audio ears next Friday.
It's your audio ears, not as opposed to your visual ears.
No, that's different. My visual ears absorb light. Coming into your news, your audio feeds next Friday include Fragments by Bonobo, Old, Dead, Young, B-Side and Rarities by Broken Social Scene.
I don't need to tell you that is a collection of B-Sides and Rarities.
That's there's also Covers by Cat Power.
I don't need to tell you that's a cover album. But I will anyway.
We also have Sick by Earl Sweatshirt. Yes, that is Sick with an exclamation point.
It is, yes.
We also have The Boy Named If by Elvis Costello and The Imposters. Yes, that Elvis Costello?
Yes, that Elvis
Still
Costello. Yes.
Around?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, very much so.
We also have Capri Songs by FKA Twigs, Voyeurist by Under Oath, and Bright Side by the Lumineers.
Not Mr.
Not be confused with Mr.
Different.
Brightside. This is the son of Brightside.
Son of Brightside. Yeah, all that Friday.
Yeah. I actually did end up listening to the Brightside single from the Lumineers.
Okay.
Maybe you want to check it out. It's like, oh yeah, the Lumineers are pretty good.
All right. So maybe we'll talk about that next week.
I'll talk about that next week after it comes out.
All right.
But let's get into some music bits, shall we? And we start with some sources saying that Billie Eilish and Kanye West will be the new Coachella headliners, along with the confirmed reunion of Swedish House Mafia.
So this comes off of news that the festival was going to change up the lineup a little bit since last year's announced lineup, because that was canceled as well. Eliminating Travis Scott for obvious reasons and needing to replace him in that slot. So what they've done, it seems, according to someone who was a connection to Golden Voice, they've rounded up Billie Eilish and Kanye West, two names that make sense for this. But the order of operations here is the question. We know that likely Swedish House Mafia, being the retro act, which is weird to say,
comeback act,
would be the third night. That's traditionally the night for the older, more like prestige
the experience,
right?
The veterans.
Who knows where Billy and Kanye land in the first two, or whether he's going to be credited as Ye. Unclear. So sounds likely. I wouldn't be surprised if this is your final lineup here.
Now, is Rage Against the Machine still a part of this or not?
That's the question, right?
If you're going for both,
it seems like this would imply that Rage may be there but not headlining.
Right.
Maybe they didn't want to after Fallout here. I don't know. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered. Golden Voice should put out a lineup by the end of this month if the tradition stands. If they're still planning on an April Coachella, which now could be up in the air.
Oh, we'll get to stuff that's up in the air as we'll talk about later in the podcast.
Mhm.
Things getting canceled, things
Yes.
getting moved, especially
Continues to
outdoor
happen.
and arena events.
Yes.
But we have more music bits,
Mhm.
including, speaking of Kanye West,
Yes.
he has started recording Donda 2, the sequel to Donda
Yeah,
1.
thought you had enough Donda, especially after that first opening track. No, you have not had enough Donda, according to Kanye. This is his first time making a direct sequel to one of his records. So we'll see how that checks out. I don't know.
Wait, I thought Graduation was the direct sequel to Late Registration, though.
And that was a direct sequel to College Dropout.
Yes.
They were technically thematically linked, but this is the first time he's naming something two, is I guess what he means by that. We'll see. I feel like there's a history of Kanye announcing projects and never delivering them. That being said, so take this with a grain of salt.
So why not call it Donda, the double album?
I think I think by the time he's done with this, who knows whether it's still Donda 2. There's been, like, where's TurboGrafx 16, Kanye? Where is it?
So just call it Nori instead.
Oh, yeah, maybe. But yeah, so we'll see.
All right, we'll see. But what we won't see coming to a show near you,
at least not this month,
and at least not anytime soon, is the Grammy Awards, as they have been officially postponed.
Yeah.
With a date not yet confirmed. So the Grammys were supposed to be at the newly minted crypto.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Crypto.com arena, formerly Staples Center. They say that everywhere now.
Everywhere.
In LA, but due to the rising COVID cases, especially in and around Los Angeles, they have decided to pull the award show.
The question now, the challenge is whether they'll even be able to book Crypto.com arena. As I just saw an article headline today that's linked to this that said, hey, will they even be able to do it because there's so much stuff already scheduled around the rest of the year?
See, that's the thing about when Staples Center had it. They literally block out 2 weeks for the Grammys, so they can set up everything, rehearse, and perform and tear down.
But that's a lot of space to insert into existing stuff.
Yes. We here in LA call it the Grammy road trip, as that's when the Kings, the Clippers, and the Lakers all go on a 2-week road trip specifically for the Grammys.
So a lot of people have to change a lot of things for the Grammys to settle down in a new date.
Yeah, not just people performing, but talking about two different professional leagues of people playing, and you have to say, okay, you're no longer playing here. You got to play in your home stadium.
So of course,
wait, can you play in your home stadium?
Question. That means that likely, I would not be surprised if we see a change of venue here for the Grammys.
You know what they do? Go across the street to the Microsoft Theater.
Maybe.
Oh, sorry, no longer Microsoft.
Yes.
It's now the YouTube Theater.
Yeah. I would not be surprised if they make some sort of deal like that. So we'll see what happens.
Or they go to the Dolby Theater.
Yeah, that's another.
Or is that still the Dolby Theater? I don't know.
Who can say? Who the hell knows?
You know what I'm talking about when I say those things.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. We also have more music bits.
Yes.
As David Bowie,
the
estate, because David Bowie,
right,
will be selling his publishing catalog to Warner Chappell for over $250 million.
Chappell, Chapel, I'm not sure.
It's two P's, two L's. It might be Chapel, but you've written Chappelle.
That's how they spelled it. This follows the footsteps of Bruce Springsteen's big sale we talked about last week. It's a pretty penny. Makes sense. David Bowie's catalog is pretty valuable. I guess it makes sense to do moves like this right now. It seems like artists of this caliber are all making this same move.
Especially in the older, you're like, okay, give me the payday for my entire catalog, and I'll go retire, and you can use it for commercial jingles. I don't care that much anymore.
The estate doing it posthumously makes sense for the estate. Makes more money for them in the long term, potentially, instead of them making decisions themselves. Go for it. Why not?
Put that $250 in a trust.
Yeah.
And let it grow. Yes, growing the trust.
Yeah. Because what's his face needs to make another Warcraft movie.
Dunk.
Yeah.
What's his name? Duncan.
What's his last name?
No, I think Duncan is the last name.
Oh, right. What's it? Something Duncan, yeah. Whatever. Anyways, his son, David Bowie's son, who is a director.
Surprise, that's his son.
Yeah, it's weird, huh?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Speaking of babies, the judge has dismissed the Nirvana baby lawsuit.
Yes.
Based on wording. Word is that he's going to come back with rewording the actual lawsuit into whatever the judge will accept.
Yeah, when we reported on this, and we instantly said the same thing. It's like, no, they're just going to dismiss this. It's a stupid story. There's no way at all that anybody would construe the art of Nirvana's Nevermind as child porn. No one would ever think that. No one has ever thought that. This guy made that up. So, of course, they were going to dismiss it.
Of course they were. You know what they're going to do to actually get that lawsuit passed, right?
What?
Get a lot of child pornographer people to take the stand and say, yes, I'm a child pornographer. This is child pornography.
They get arrested right after they admit
exactly.
This is a parade. That's a really efficient way to get child pornographers arrested, I guess.
Is this album child pornography?
Yeah, today in a very special episode of To Catch a Predator. Anyways,
we have more music bits.
Somehow
there's more music bits happening.
Somehow they haven't canceled us yet. Go on.
Il Divo. Yes, that Il Divo.
Yeah, remember them?
Yeah, from 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
From when you needed a last minute gift for your mother in 2009?
Yeah.
That Il Divo.
Apparently, they will continue touring despite the death of Carlos Marin.
We didn't report on that on this podcast. Slipped through the cracks a little bit. But yes, one of the members of Il Divo, the baritone Carlos Marin, passed away. So they are moving along with tour despite that and replacing it with a guest vocalist.
A guest vocalist?
Yeah, the name was in there, but it wasn't a known name, so I didn't include it. But yeah.
It wasn't Andrea Bocelli, so we don't.
It was not, no.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
I try not to believe it.
Yeah.
All right. And lastly, in music bits, MRC data states over 74% of music listened to in 2021 was older than 18 months.
I thought this was the most interesting fun fact in their data. This is also where you saw headlines this week coming out about CDs going up in sales for the first time ever since their peak. Also, this vinyl continued to grow. But I thought this little piece of data was really fascinating. Goes to show you that 2021 was a year of catch up for a lot of people that had some time on their hands.
Either catch up or try to harken back to the good old days of, early 2000s.
Sure. I think also TikTok trends have a lot of piece in this.
Yes.
A lot of TikTok viral songs are not new. They're older songs repurposed. And so a lot of people, especially teens on TikTok, are looking back to the origin of these songs. Be like, oh, this remix of this song was based on this original song. I'm going to find that on streaming, and now it's my favorite thing. See also movie soundtracks. Recently, a lot of big movies like Spider-Man have used needle drops of a lot of older songs that have now become really viral in the kids market. So,
well, they put it in there for the parents,
but they have the side effect of turning on kids to music they're not familiar with.
Yes.
Also, speaking of TikTok, one of the TikTok trends recently that I've noticed a lot is kids trying to basically saying, how many songs from the 90s or 2000s do I recognize? And it'll be like a top 10 list. I don't know if you've seen this.
No, it's not on TikTok.
Okay,
go ahead.
It's a really popular trend. They'll do a play 10 songs in a row, little snippets of songs, and it'll be like, oh, check mark, I've heard of this one, or Red X, I haven't heard of this one, or variants of that where a big group will stand on this side of the room if you've heard of this song. It's this song.
Okay, I've seen that for different stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So so that's probably another kind of source of this. A lot of people are looking back into the wide library of music available to them. So,
especially streaming, it's easier to get into that wide library than before.
Easier than ever.
Yep.
So, yeah, pretty cool.
I see. I thought you were going to talk about the TikTok trend of, was it Material Girl?
What?
Oh, we'll get into this after podcast.
I have not heard of that.
We'll get to it after podcast.
Anyway.
Anyways.
Those are your bits.
Those are your bits. So let's get to Album of the year so far.
I was gonna say week one.
Week one, it is headlining album of the year right now.
Yeah,
because nothing else has come out.
Yeah.
The Weeknd with his personal radio station for your ears.
Yeah,
Dawn FM, featuring Jim Carrey as your DJ.
Yeah, exactly. Turns out your existentialist weirdo, dear DJ, to the end of times. This thing, so as we mentioned before, was a surprise release. Weeknd dropped it on us on a Friday, which makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. Here is The Weeknd, and it stands as like a synthesis of everything he's done up till now. I really liked it.
How much 80s do you like? Because and how much Weeknd do you like?
It asks both of those questions, but it doesn't ask the 80s in general. It asks specifically a kind of 80s synth that's
pop synth, yes,
but not quite, but a little dirty, a little like
it opens with Depeche Mode.
Yeah. It opens really interestingly because it opens in a way that you really never heard The Weeknd before. He's morphed his voice in kind of a vocoded kind of way. And it's an interesting way to intro because it's like throws a curveball at you before the rest of the album turns out to just be the Weeknd record.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's smart. I think it starts you second guessing right from the beginning, which makes you more likely to appreciate when he does go into traditional Weeknd mode. And as we know, after hours, yes, traditional Weeknd mode now is basically Quincy Jones era, Thriller era, kind of Michael Jackson kind of sounds. Mm-hmm. But with an edge to it, like with a Weeknd style edge to it, where there's also always like kind of a layer of like what's actually going on here on top of it. Of course, the best example of this is the big single, Take My Breath, which is the Swedish House Mafia team up. Speaking of Swedish House Mafia. Because it's like this, it's this fun little dancing song that's about choking my girlfriend. Yeah, it's weird when you think about it, but it's like The Weeknd. That's who he is at this point. Mm-hmm. This is a persona he's developed, is fun dance songs with a weird kind of creepy kind of vibe to it.
I mean, we did have this in the late 2000s too.
Yeah, he's always kind of done that. More dancey as he's gone on, but But then
Jim Carrey.
Right, we need to talk about the Jim Carrey angle to this thing.
So when it was announced that Jim Carrey was going to be on it, people around the internet went, "What?" Turns
out he's not singing here. He is, as you said, the DJ of Dawn FM, which is the titular radio station that this all takes place in. In an interview, I guess The Weeknd said that what he wanted here is that idea of you're in a tunnel, you can't quite see the light. That could mean a physical, real tunnel, like a journey that you're taking, or it could mean the tunnel of you're about to die and go into the afterlife. Whatever it is, it's a transition into something else. And so Jim Carrey is your guide.
I think you'd be like, Jim Carrey is your guide through all of this.
Exactly. And that's kind of the vibe it goes. Of course, important note, Jim Carrey's vibe whole thing lately has been of this weird existential thinking kind of like guru kind of thing. So it makes sense here, weirdly enough.
Oh, see, I thought it just made sense because they're both Canadian.
I mean, that also helps, I'm sure. But yeah, so it seems like an out of left field choice, but by the time the album wraps up with Jim Carrey's words, you feel like it fits, weirdly enough, and you're like, okay, yeah, I accept this. And it's a concept album that I think is successful in what's trying to do. I think that a lot of people actually might find some meaning in what Jim has to say at the end of this thing. Maybe, but it's a weird risk that I think works in The Weeknd's favor here.
I thought it was just hilarious that he put a infomercial in the middle towards the end of it.
It's real weird. It's a real weird choice.
It's a real weird choice. I think the track is called Never Trust an Angel.
Something like that. It's a weird thing, but I think it works, and I feel it. The whole thing feels cohesive in a way, and it's definitely the most I've enjoyed personally a Weeknd record
outside of the hits.
I mean, yes, the highlights is an exception because it's a greatest hits collection.
Yes.
This I think works, and there's a lot of really good songs, and I want to easily give an early nod to Less Than Zero as first big jam of 2022. That thing rules. It's catchy as hell. So look at that one for his next big single. I think that'll be a radio hit.
Now, here comes the big question.
Mm-hmm.
Do we see The Weeknd at the Grammys?
No, because he has said that is not interested in attending them and not interested in submitting his work. I don't think this has a chance. I do see this popping up on some year-end lists if people remember it, because I think it's really quality. I think what he's done is one of his best works yet. If this had come out just a month ago, I feel like the conversation would be different, because I feel like people would have been hyping this thing up in year-end lists a month ago, but they missed the deadline. I don't know why. Maybe this is a purposeful
because
choice.
He doesn't appeal to any other deadlines but himself.
He has carved out his own world that he exists in, and he's able to make up his own rules. And good for him. I think he's deserved it. I think that this is the moment after the Super Bowl show last year. I think we finally reached the moment those two things have made. Like, The Weeknd he's through the stratosphere at this point. He's on a level. He's on a new level.
I'm trying to think. I think it was about 10 years ago. I saw The Weeknd in Vegas.
Yeah.
Not knowing who he was. It's just, it's The Weeknd.
Is your own private uncut gems. So,
like, okay. I don't know who he was, but
good to see him come up in a big, big way. So, congrats to The Weeknd. I say this is a media vote recommend.
Yeah, I would say that too. I had lots of fun listening to this. I mean, once I put it on, I didn't want to stop.
Yeah, just a little dance at your desk moment.
Yep.
So, put that on. Enjoy.
I want to put this in probably end of the year. I know it's really early, but
it's January. Maybe we should hold off. But yes, it's pretty good.
Start calling them out real early. See them as I see them.
You call them as you see them. Exactly. All right. Well, anything else you listen
to? Nope.
Nothing's coming out right now.
Nothing that came out.
Nope.
So let's get into some video games.
Yes.
And we start with new releases. Just 2 releases, and they're really PC ports.
Yes, PC port time.
The first, Monster Hunter Rise for the PC.
Finally.
Yep.
This was a Switch exclusive, finally coming to the PC. A lot of people are excited for mod support for this, for better graphics.
I'm waiting for the mod support for this to turn all the monsters into Pokemon.
Hey, let's do it.
And speaking of mod support, the second one, God of War for the PC. God of War 2018.
One of your favorite games ever.
Yes.
Finally gets a PC port here, so a lot of people
before God of War Ragnarok comes out later this year.
Yeah,
counting down the eventual days of it.
Any advice for people playing this for the first time on the PC?
Do all the side quests.
Okay.
It not only does it expand the story, but it gives you more time within the world.
All right.
And side quests cannot be tedious for most games. Not in God of War. I feel like it helps expand the story when you do all the side quests.
Cool.
Not only that, but you also level up pretty easier.
Okay.
Yeah, God of War, one of my favorite games, 2018 version ever, kind of one of my favorite series.
Yeah.
Let me get the mod support to where we have Mandalorian and Baby Grogu walking around with you.
Boy.
Anyways, let's get into some video game news because CES happened and Sony was there to say, we're not done with VR yet.
Yeah, pretty much.
As E3 may have been canceled again, but big announcements are still happening.
I included that because that was another big story that I could not fit in this week. No. But yes, so we won't see those at E3 because there won't be one. It'll be virtual again this year. But as you mentioned, new VR.
Yeah, CES 2022 happened, and Sony was the keynote on Tuesday, where Sony Interactive Entertainment fully revealed its next-gen VR headset, which is confirmed to be called the very uncreative name PlayStation VR 2.
You know what? It makes sense. Facebook / Oculus / Meta named that thing the Quest 2. So there's a precedent set for it. And why come up with a weird ass name if you just want to say what it is? It's VR for PlayStation.
Yep. Well, during the keynote, they also shared official technical specs for the PlayStation 5 accessory, and also confirmed the name for its controller. Yeah. Which is the VR2 Sense controller.
Makes sense. It keeps in the product lineage of the DualSense controller, which is the PS5 controller. So naming makes sense.
Yep. Sony also announced that the first PSVR 2 game would be Horizon Call of the Mountain from Guerrilla and Firesprite.
Yes, a VR spinoff of the Horizon series.
Yeah, which in the demo, it looked like just a tour through the Horizon world. PSVR 2 will feature 4K HDR 110-degree field of view visuals with foveated rendering.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds delicious.
Pause for effect. Its OLED display will offer a 2000 by 2040 resolution per eye and frame rates of 90 to 120 hertz.
That's fast, but you need it to be fast because it's VR.
Yes, it's also right in front of your face.
Yeah.
The headset will include inside-out tracking via integrated cameras embedded in the headset, allowing games to track movement without the need for external cameras.
This is key. PlayStation VR 1 required the PlayStation camera, which was at the time an ancient accessory that not a lot of people held on to.
I think we have one somewhere. There it is.
I don't know if you want that still.
No. As well as eye tracking. Tracking for eye movement.
Yeah.
Sony will introduce 3D audio and headset feedback, which is described as, quote, a sensory feature that amplifies the sensations of in-game actions of the player.
I saw that specific thing as a red flag for some people on Twitter who were talking about this. Apparently, another VR headset tried some of this force feedback in the headset stuff, and apparently it wasn't great. So, yeah, the question remains about whether this will enhance your experience or distract you from it. Because I, myself, seem like I don't want something vibrating on my head, but that's just me.
Possible oversensory, maybe?
Maybe, a little bit.
Well, it's a feature, so maybe you can turn off the feature.
God, imagine if something was like programmed to fall on your head, and it was just like a brrr, and you're like, ah! Log just fell on me. It'd be terrifying.
Yeah, just motion, like, oh no, like my right side's vibrating constantly.
I don't like VR, so this isn't for me. But hey, you know what? If they make cool games for it, I think there'll be an audience for it. PlayStation VR was, of course, one of the most successful VR headsets in that era because of how accessible it was, because you could just plug and play into your PlayStation and call it a day. Not a whole setup like the Vive and the Oculus stuff was initially. It was a first of its era. Now we're in a different era of VR. The Quest has established now a disconnected, fully portable version of VR. This sounds like this will follow in the footsteps of that.
See, I think that's where this one can be the successor of all VRs.
Yeah,
is you don't need extra cameras.
Yeah,
you don't need to have it plugged into a PlayStation.
Yeah,
and it comes with the wireless controllers.
Yeah,
you have free reign movement now.
Yeah,
you need to know where you are outside of like that space. So you don't run into walls or other people.
Right. It seems smart. It seems like they made all the right corrections, and they're approaching this to hopefully get it to a point where it's the standard. I think that they have a chance this time. They're not doing catch up as much. They're trying to lead, and I think that they have potential to bring back VR.
I wonder how much of this is responsible from the SSD that the PS5 has.
I imagine that will help a great deal. So yeah.
Yes. Cool. Yeah. So Christmas 2022, everyone's getting PSVR. If you don't have a PS5 by then,
yeah, we'll see.
Damn scalpers.
Yeah, we'll see how many of these things they can actually make is the big question.
Yes, chip shortage. Yeah. All right. Let's get to our second news story.
Yeah,
then.
A little happy follow-up to a not so happy story.
Yes. Remember we talked about Riot Games? Then again, when haven't we talked about Riot Games? Well, they have agreed to pay a $100 million settlement of a class action lawsuit over alleged gender discrimination and sexual harassment. Under the terms of the settlement agreement, the League of Legends developer will pay $80 million to current and former full-time employees and temporary agency contractors in California.
Yes.
The additional $20 million goes to attorney's fees and miscellaneous expenses, which is also included.
Yeah.
The suit, which was first launched in November of 2018, when 2 former employees alleged that they were subjected to sexual harassment and gender discrimination.
Yeah.
Kotaku published a detailed investigation into Riot's allegedly toxic workplace culture that year, leading to a public apology from the company and a commitment to change its cultural DNA. Riot Games has agreed to pay just $10 million to settle the class action lawsuit in December of 2019. However, the Department of Fair Employment and Housing intervened and claimed the figure should climb to over $400 million.
So yes, that's the context.
They settled for $100 million.
Didn't quite get up to that number, and of course, we all probably agree that the victims deserve more. That being said, 10 to 100 is a 10-fold jump, and we should be happy that Riot at least moved the needle up. I think that hopefully this money will be for to help the people who were affected by this with financial, which is, as we've learned as a society, is the best possible way to help people who are struggling and are victims of things. Just give them financial power to dig out of the hole that they're in, whether that means getting more therapy, more healthcare, whether it means just being in a better state of living because they went through hell. And so I'm glad that Riot finally is done what they needed to do and up that amount.
Well, they were seeking for 100, so selling for 100 million.
Yeah. So
what does League of Legends make on that?
I mean, yes, if you're talking about a game of comparisons, they can afford to pay more.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that they can't. I'm just saying that at least they're paying more. At least they got to that point. Yes. Do they deserve more? Absolutely yes. But if this is a move that they're going to make, we should be happy that they're making the move. So.
Yep. All right. Any other thoughts on that?
I mean, I think we summed it up. And now, next up, Activision, right?
Yep. Next up, Activision. Wait, wasn't this Riot story our 20?
Yes.
19,
I believe.
Yeah,
stories that
2018, which we put on watch for 2019.
Just so many stories that year, and they continue to exist. Stories about sexual harassment in games and toxic environment in game studios as a whole.
Yep. 2 years later, we got. 2 years later, we got resolution there
somehow. But yeah, it continues. It never stops. Unionize your workplace, guys.
Yep. All right. So
move on.
Have you played any games this week?
I played some more Halo campaign. I've gotten to a really sticky place right now where the thing with Halo, and just want to real briefly bring this up. If you played a Halo game before, you've experienced this. The autosave feature, great if you're doing well. Sucks if you have the wrong weapons at the wrong time, because that starts a loop. You get stuck in a loop where you're like, okay, I'm stuck with fucking a weapon that has like 2 bullets left in it, and I'm stuck with a plasma pistol that I hate. And if I need to get to the next thing, I have to dodge all these enemies because I don't have the weaponry to get them. And the only way to get new weapons, there's no cache like they're nearby so I can grab something, is to kill those enemies that are firing at me. So it's just constantly go in, die, go in, die, go in, die.
Oh, death loop.
I'm in a loop.
And you're in a death loop.
So yeah, I'm a little bit I might have to rewind the checkpoint a little bit to get to a place where I could reload to play a little bit.
Either rewind the checkpoint or restart the level.
Yeah, the thing though, this isn't the level. I'm in the open world hub right now.
Okay.
And so if I reset, hopefully it'll reset after I got off the last mission. But that's what put me in this position, is by the end of that mission, I was basically out of everything because there was a boss battle.
Right.
So yeah, that's Halo for you. But yeah, I'll probably get to more of that campaign. Hopefully wrap that up soon. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. That's all I played.
Yeah. I got Madden for Christmas, so I've been playing. Like I said, it was one of the good Madden. So
PS5 Madden?
Yeah, PS5 version Madden.
Cool.
So I've been playing some Face the Franchise outside of streaming it.
Yeah, someone awesome rides again.
Someone awesome, the running back now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and I got pissed at it too.
What did you do?
What did the game do?
So I said, what did it do?
Oh, so I had the greatest performance a running back could ever have. 350 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns.
Nice.
And I lost the MVP of the week to Aaron freaking Rodgers, who threw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Well, that's a great segue because he's actually not on your news. I'm surprised.
No.
But that's a great segue into television because we always start television with the Sports Corner.
Oh no, I'll give you a great segue between playing games and going into sports.
Okay.
Monday Night Football. So last week I had mentioned that I was in the championship game for fantasy football.
Yes.
My players do fine. They hit their floor, and that's kind of what I built my team on. Is have a really high floor.
Yeah.
So if I hit a ceiling, I'm way above everyone else.
Sure.
So my floor is like everyone else that has to hit their ceiling.
Yeah. It's
kind of like that. Like, do you want like the high floor or the high ceiling? Kind of dilemma.
Sure. Yeah.
So, I went with the high floor. My team consisted of the number 1 fantasy quarterback on the year, the number 1 fantasy running back on the year, and the number 1 wide receiver on the year.
Okay.
That being of Josh Allen, Cooper Kupp, and Jonathan Taylor.
Thomas.
Yes, JGT. On my team.
Mm-hmm.
Managed to put up 117 points.
Okay.
That's a really high floor. Considering I only got like maybe 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns on the year or on the week.
Okay.
My opponent, who is also my doctor, played Joe Burrow, who threw for another like 500 yards on the day. Just under his previous week of throwing for 500 yards. Over the course of 2 weeks, he threw for 1,000 yards. Like, he balled out of his mind. Then she also played the sun god, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who, over the course of the year, had maybe a total of 20 catches. Over the course of the last 2 weeks in the season, 16 catches, 8 per game, for 150 yards each game.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sitting there thinking, oh, good, all her players are sucking. And then these 2 players come out of nowhere and hit 70 points between them.
Wow.
And so it all came down to Nick Chubb on Monday Night Football. I had no one else to play. And she had Nick Chubb versus the Steelers.
What an unfortunate name.
Yes. All Nick Chubb had to do was get 6 points. If he scored a touchdown, if he crossed the goal line in any form, I lose.
I love when a Chubb scores a touchdown.
Yeah, I love when Chubb gets across that line. Across that goal line.
Yeah.
And celebrates getting in.
Penetrates the defense.
Yep, penetrates through into the end zone. Yep. So Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb.
All game, like the defense is just stopping the run. The Browns can't do anything against the Steelers. Until they get to the goal line. They get all the way down there. They line up for I formation, jumbo package. Everyone's crowding the line. Nick Chubb's in the backfield. And then they run my favorite play to run at the goal line. Tight end hot pass.
I know. I used to play Madden with you. I am aware.
They fake it to Nick Chubb. He doesn't get the score. They throw it to the end zone. Score the touchdown. Nick Chubb does not hit 60 yards on the day.
Yeah.
I win by 2 points.
Wow. Unbelievable.
By 2 points, I am the fantasy champion.
So thanks to Nick Chubb's jumbo package.
Yes. Thanks to running my favorite play. You can say Nick Chubb's jumbo package, yes.
I'm sorry, that has to be the name of the podcast.
Nick Chubb's jumbo package.
I know that's not usually how we do these things. But
no, but it's a great name.
Pretty good. Anyways.
But yeah, Nick Chubb could not pull off Monday Night Miracle, and I walked away with the trophy into the sunset.
All right. Well, congratulations for your win.
Yes. Other note of that Monday night game, Big Ben Roethlisberger.
Yes.
Possibly his last game in Heinz Field.
Right.
Assuming they don't make the playoffs, and they're playing, I think, Baltimore this week in Baltimore. So we could have seen the last of Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh, meaning that the oldest player in the league, still Tom Brady.
Yeah, still.
In terms of the quarterback position. Second, it would be Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Who knows if he's going to move out of Green Bay? That's another thing to watch in the offseason.
Sure
but
is.
one thing we do know, who will not be returning to football, at least anytime soon, Antonio Brown.
Yes. So, thank you for the segue. We move now in television into the sports corner, which point at the Ohtani jersey. Antonio Brown decided he was done and he rage quit. He walked off in the middle of the game.
Across the field.
Yeah, and
while
retired.
a play was going on.
Took his jersey off. Whole thing.
Yep. Took
He's
his
done.
pads off.
Just
jersey
done.
off. Took his shirt off. Took his gloves off. Threw him into the crowd.
So, did anyone see this coming? Is my question for you.
I mean, if you watched Antonio Brown antics over the last 5 years,
Yeah, maybe
you could have seen it coming.
But no one expected it in the middle of play.
No, especially not when I was playing Antonio Brown that was my fantasy lineup.
Wonderful.
So he walks off with like 4 points, and I'm like, there's still another half to play. Like, you guys are down. You could easily get yardage and points. What are you doing? My team is imploding in front of my eyes.
Well, that's unfortunate for you.
I mean, I ended up winning, so
yeah,
but
down the end.
It worked out in the end,
but not still. For Antonio Brown. So, what's been the fallout from this? How have people reacted?
It's not much of a reaction, but the news that's come out between them.
Yeah, what's happening?
So there's AB for Antonio Brown and BA for the head coach Bruce Arians. It's gonna get super confusing.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, so AB claims that BA was trying to force AB into the game, even though AB has had an ankle injury that he's coming off of and trying to play in.
Right.
AB claims that BA and the staff shot up his knee with some pain-killing his ankle, not knee, ankle, with some pain-killing drugs, which AB claims is harmful according to the NFL PA.
Okay.
But it also come out that AB, the night before the game, brought an OnlyFans girl who was COVID positive into his hotel room.
Okay.
The night before the game.
Sure.
BA comes out and claims that has nothing to do with it. BA and his staff claim that they were trying to get AB the ball, and AB was upset because AB had incentives up to $1 million if he had like 8 more catches, 150 more yards, and 2 more touchdowns.
Okay.
He would have received $1 million bonus.
Oh.
It later comes out that AB and his client were trying to get BA and the team to make that that incentive not performance based but automatic.
Got it.
In the days leading up to the game.
Okay.
So we have a lot of conflicting information, and depending on where you fall on believing AB determines how you will treat BA.
Wow.
Because of what AB has done in the past. Talking about his stint in Buffalo for a week before being traded to the Raiders, where he didn't even play, and getting cold feet from cryo freezing. Also his blow up in the Steelers, where he originally found fame with Big Ben. And now he's on the then he went to the Patriots after his stint with the Raiders because of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Where AB what exactly did he do?
I don't know, I'm lost.
No, AB domestic violence.
Right.
Yes. After a single game scoring 1 touchdown with the Patriots, got pulled off the team because of domestic violence issues.
Which I feel like the league has not done a very good job of trying to address.
Oh, not in the slightest.
No.
But then when TB went to TB, he brought AB to TB. God damn it. Where what? All these acronyms.
Go on.
Where AB was supposed to submit a CV for COVID card, where AB's chef claimed that AB wanted him to find a fake VC card to submit to TB so AB could play for TB without actually getting the TV shot.
Got it.
Any other acronyms I can throw in?
No, I'm good. Okay, we need to stop talking about this. But yeah, it's fascinating. It seems like there's some multi-layered drama happening here.
Oh, the whole
yeah.
You could write a whole book, a whole movie about Antonio Brown's life in the NFL, and it would still be unbelievable.
It's going to be a great 30 for 30. I can't wait. All right, let's move on. There's other sports news, believe it or not. Staying in the NFL, the Washington football team has finally said they're ready to fully rename the team with a new name and logo by February, by next month. By the 2nd of February, we may have a new name. They will no longer be the amazing name of the Washington football team.
To be fair, they could still very well be named the Washington football team, as that is a name up for consideration still.
I mean, honestly, I think they should be. I think they should be forever punished for what they've done by just getting the most generic name in sports. I honestly think they've earned it. Just leave it. Just leave it. And now they have an entire, 2 seasons now of legacy of having that name. So why change it now? Why throw that away when you have so much merch that you just got done selling for the Washington football team?
See, take that entire sentence you just said and replace it with Baker Mayfield and the Browns, as Baker Mayfield on the Browns is looking for a trade possibly during the offseason away from the Browns.
Right.
As he has also not been doing good there. But then again, not many people do good in Cleveland.
That's the thing, is when you go to Cleveland, you know what you're getting into.
Compared to going to Cincinnati, where Joe Burrow is currently lighting up the league.
So, I mean, goes to show you, one person, unlike a lot of sports, one person cannot change the entire fate of a football team, as much as some people would argue Tom Brady has done. But
we also look at Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer, the former head coach Urban Meyer of Jacksonville.
Right. It's not, there's no one thing fits all. There's no magical cure for a bad football team. A bad football team will be a bad football team.
Well, and that pretty much goes with all sports, unless you somehow find a way to make infinite Shohei Ohtanis on your team.
Yes. Did you end up watching that?
I ended up watching it.
It was so good.
It was so good. They can't catch for shit.
No. Honestly, that is a problem with the show, I've noticed. So I jumped into one other thing I did in video games. I jumped into the Xbox Series X version of the show.
Okay.
By the way, runs slightly worse than PS5, which I imagine is just because that team has worked on PlayStation, so it's optimized better.
Right.
So it's just slightly, frame rate slightly, but worse on
and that's not
Series
doing
X.
The actual system, right?
What do you mean?
Because of the SSD and non-SSD?
Yeah, running from the SSD, everything normal. But I'm just saying, I feel like because they optimize it so much for being a Sony internal team for the PS5, just slightly underperforms on Series X. So a little disappointed in that. However, it meant that I had to start over because the link to my progress doesn't carry over saves.
Okay.
So I had to start over to the show again, and I forgot how bad catchers are in AAA. Holy shit, nobody can catch my pitches. It's so bad. I got 4 passed balls in a row from my catcher. Screwed us over. They scored against us because of it. And I was like, I can't do anything about this. It's on me, but it shouldn't be.
Now they pass balls in the dirt, or just they can't catch it?
They some of them were in the dirt. Some of them were way past to the wall.
Okay.
He just could not catch it. I was like, this is absurd at this point. You can't catch a fastball in the zone? Then you shouldn't be playing baseball of any kind.
Right. And that's why he's in Triple League.
That's why he's in AAA. Will never, ever be promoted. Sorry. I should stop ranting about my catchers. Anyways, let's move on to other sports because things are happening in other sports.
Yes. Baseball, MLB, still in lockout mode.
Yeah, still in limbo.
I assume we won't know anything until we get to February.
No, we won't know anything until another month. So press pause on that whole thing.
Yeah.
So enjoy the show. It's a good baseball substitute in baseball dry periods. But there's still biggest news, I think, in sports this week to talk about, which was about our old friend,
the Joker.
Yep. Novak Djokovic. In the news again, as he has been denied entry into Australia due to his vaccination status.
So originally the story was that Djokovic was allowed to travel outside of.
He was given an exemption.
Yeah, she was given an exemption from his country to go into Australia.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that it's going to be okay when he gets to Australia.
Yeah, because the Australian government said, "Oh,
hell no,
you're not vaccinated. You don't have anything to prove of that.
No,
then no, we deny you entry into our country."
Right.
So he's been in this like limbo of, do I play or don't I play? And people come out saying, "Oh, you're not vaccinated. Well, you're part of the problem of why this is happening. Why we have these rules."
Yeah, it's like there's a solution. I don't want to go crazy here and say that I have the solution to this problem, but I have the solution to this problem. Hey, get vaccinated, doofus. If you want to play your sport, follow the rules. Like, I'm sorry, if you want to get the prestige of competing in this open, you absolutely have to follow the rules. It's like being like, well, I want to participate in the tennis open here in Australia, but I want to play by these rules that I made up for tennis. I decided that I can go and basically, if I hit the net, that's a point for me. That's what I decided are the rules, so I want to play.
Well, see, this isn't the rules for tennis. This is the rules for the government.
But that's what I'm saying is it's the same thing in my mind. It's like if you're not going to play by the rules, then you can't compete. Literally, you cannot compete unless you play by the rules. That goes for entering the thing out by the rules of the organizers. I don't know. It just doesn't make... This is not like civil rights. It's not an issue that matters in a bigger way. It's literally, do you want to play? Then get the shot. I don't know. It's not rocket science.
I mean, for some people, it feels like it.
Yes, but it doesn't make any... I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, don't make a big stink about it. Just get it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Anyways, Australia Open is still scheduled to go on.
Yeah.
But Djokovic won't be there.
And you know what? Good riddance.
You know what? That gives someone else to come in and claim the title.
New blood, bring in fresh blood. Let some people get a chance. I think this is fine. Anyway, any other sports news?
It'll just be no other news.
No, nothing's coming to mind.
No.
All right. Well, that means we can safely move on.
I was going to say something about hockey, but no, not really.
Hockey. It continues?
Well, one, it continues. Two, for the brief period there, they stopped people from traveling to Canada.
Right.
I have not heard anything if they've allowed people back or not.
I don't believe so, but we'll, I'm sure, have updates about that when they hit.
Yep.
Let's move on to television news proper. We have a couple of stories here.
Oh, that was the last thing.
Yeah.
Because we talked about rising COVID numbers in Los Angeles.
Yes.
The Super Bowl, which is supposed to be held in Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium, currently looking at other potential sites should February come around and they cannot have indoor seating.
Yeah, that's the thing. This would be probably not a non-issue if this was an open air stadium. It is not. So yes, they do have to. No, technically it's not. And so they do have to. That has to be considered. So yeah, we'll see.
Yep.
All right, let's now move into those news stories for television. We start with a television and movie joint story, I guess you could say, because we're talking about the Golden Globes. If you've forgotten about the Golden Globes, that's for good reason, because as of last year, they kind of became persona non grata in the entertainment industry. They
Hollywood Foreign Press Association basically got a black eye.
Yes.
This time last year.
Yes.
Due to their protocols.
Yeah, zero trust in the organization. And so that's led us to our current space, which is they're trying to figure out their award show. So the Foreign Press Association revealed that it won't be offering up any sort of live stream or update from the Beverly Hilton Ballroom. So don't expect an award show as tradition has established it.
Also, don't expect the award show to be filmed.
No, we had already reported last year it wouldn't be televised in 2022. Now it's not even going to be live streamed. Mm-hmm. Instead, they will update winners as they're announced both on social media and its website. Here's the quote. This year's event is going to be a private event and will not be live streamed. We will be providing real-time updates on winners on the Golden Globes website and our social media, end quote. So just basically what I just said. The very stripped down event will still take place on January 9th, 2022. So that is tomorrow.
That's Sunday.
As of this recording. NBC has, of course, canceled the annual telecast after the association came under fire for lack of diversity among its membership and for unethical business practices. The organization's president, Helen Hone, and surprise presenter Snoop Dogg, because he will literally do anything, announced the nominees for this year's awards during a live stream on the Globe's YouTube page on December 13th. Just a little addition to the story you saw today on Variety is that part of this not being streamed in any way means that they couldn't even get celebrity presenters involved. No one cares.
Here's how bad it is.
Yeah.
The press themselves don't want to present this.
No. So, yeah. It just goes to show you that finally, after years of people discrediting the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, saying the Golden Globes don't really mean anything, we finally got to the point where it's imploded on them. It's just disappeared. I think this is the cultural relevancy of the Golden Globes end now.
So is this self-fulfilling prophecy then? Of the Hollywood Foreign Press basically poo-pooing everyone, so now everyone's poo-pooing back on them?
I think so. I think it's just proof that if you don't evolve, people just don't care.
Oh, look, it's the consequences of my actions.
Exactly. Reaping, sowing, .gif. Anyways, let's move on to our second story. Speaking of reaping and sowing, COVID continues to sow its seed as it gets worse and worse.
As we noted on this episode.
Yes. The Omicron variant has complicated some things in the entertainment industry again. A number of hosts and productions have come to a halt after several people in the entertainment industry have tested positive this past week. Late night hosts James Corden, Seth Meyers, and Jimmy Fallon have all canceled a week's worth of shows. Seth Meyers himself got COVID.
No, all three got COVID.
Oh, they all three got it. Okay.
Yeah. They all got COVID. So everyone here got COVID, as well as like numbers on their staff.
Yeah. Daytime talk show hosts Hoda Kotb, Anna Navarro, and Whoopi Goldberg all say they also tested positive over the past month. Even pre-taped shows like The Amazing Race had to shut down production and restart the race 2 years later. And the revival of Bel Air on Peacock
yes,
has been shut down after half the production crew tested positive. Even live events, as we mentioned at the top of the show, like the Grammys, have been delayed as the show is scheduled to take place on the 31st, but now won't, and a new date has not been set. So we're back where we were a year ago. Everything's being pushed back.
Is this deja vu? I feel like this is deja vu.
As Olivia Rodrigo would say.
Deja vu.
It's deja vu. So, the question, of course, remains, will this spike last? What we saw with Delta was a very, very high and a very, very big drop-off. Seems like that's the case for Omicron in places like the UK, where we're already seeing a dip after the big spike. Whether or not that's the case here in the US depends on a lot of variables. We have a lot more people.
It's what people have been saying, that Omicron is very contagious. So people will test positive more often.
So it remains to be seen how long the spike will last. Right now, though, we're still in it. And as long as we're in it, things are getting canceled. So just expect more of this to come.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's it for television news. That moves into a couple of thoughts. Hey, sitcom season. Winter replacements are happening.
Hey, they're back.
Yeah. Did you watch anything this week?
I watched something new.
Okay.
By accident, but also on purpose.
Okay.
I was watching The Bachelor. Because new season of The Bachelor.
Yeah.
You don't need to put it here because I'm not going to continue watching The Bachelor.
Okay.
I just watched for each episode to watch all the girls come out.
Sure, yeah.
And all the fighting to immediately starting, and the guy to just basically start macking on like 7 girls. Like, okay, you're the ones to watch out for now.
Yep.
But immediately following the premiere of The Bachelor was the second premiere, the re-premiere of Abbott Elementary.
Yes.
They did the pilot twice, as they typically do. And so I decided to just watch the pilot of Abbott Elementary.
Yeah.
I'd seen all the commercials of, it's getting rave reviews. Oh, people saying you should watch it. It's like, okay. Like, it was on my radar, and then, like, the holidays came and I had zero time, so all right, fine. I'll watch it. It's only half an hour. Comedy. Sure, I'll watch it. This gives me really good Parks and Rec vibes.
Yes. So I also watched this as well as the second episode. And I really like it.
Yeah.
It's a really good pilot. It's funny. The characters are charming. The Parks and Rec vibes, good point. I think that you get that because similarly, your lead character is a very like optimistic, hardworking, precocious person
who wants to do better.
Yeah, who is trying to improve herself, bouncing off of these established people who are maybe a little bit jaded than she is about the place that they're in.
Yeah.
As the name implies, it takes place at an elementary school, but it takes place at a kind of hard scrabble Philadelphia, like
I like the Eagles reference.
Philadelphia school that's struggling. They have severe budget cuts and they can't afford to get the things that the kids really need. It seems like it may be in a rough part of town where a lot of kids are coming from broken families and have difficult situations. And so that's kind of the setup here. And so in a similar way to Parks and Rec, it seems like it's going to be an ensemble show that's about self-improvement, about being better, and about like uniting as a community and working with each other's to get better. And I think it's really promising so far.
Yeah. So you watched the first episode. I just watched the one. I think it's also on Hulu the next day.
Yes. That's how I watched it.
But I surprisingly really liked it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, like you said, everything about it. Like that main character is a strong lead character.
Oh yeah, she's funny.
Yeah.
And so far all the characters are really funny. My least favorite is probably the which now I believe is becoming a stock character, which is weird to say. The white guy who wants to be extremely, using this term sarcastically, woke.
Yes.
I've now seen it in 2 shows this past season. What was the other show that was doing this? Oh, it was something I was watching recently. Has this exact same character in it.
It wasn't Keenan, right?
No, it's
another comedy too, right?
Yeah, it's another comedy that's doing the same character. I don't know where it is. Anyways, it's becoming a stock character that I'm maybe getting a little annoyed with. Right. But that being said, I remember what it was. It wasn't technically a comedy. There's a character in Dickinson, in season 3 of Dickinson, that's basically this character, except in Civil War times.
Okay.
It's weird. It's a weird choice, but yeah, so I had seen this before. But to some people, maybe it's fresh. But yeah, I really like the character so far. It's good ensemble, really good casting, I think. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do with the rest of season 1. Really strong start.
Yeah. Strong female characters, which is why I'm going to try and get Doctor to watch this. She likes strong female leads.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it.
Yep. All right. But you also watched the second show.
Yeah, so Keenan, as you mentioned, is back. Season 2 premiered after a technically false premiere over the holiday break with a Christmas episode.
Yes.
Now is properly back with season 2. This a little less hot on.
You were hot on it last year.
I really liked season 1 of Keenan. I think they did a lot of good work with those characters. It's a similar kind of vibe of like a really good ensemble show. Really funny gags. The season 2 premiere, not as strong as I think a lot of what they did in season 1. Moments of really good jokes, but overall the joke ratio is not as great. Okay. And the plot was kind of samey. Seems like they want to go to the Keenan dating pool plot a little too many times. And it's like, all right, we did this already kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not my favorite plot to start the season, but hey, I still like that show. I still hope that it continues being good. New opening as well. They threw the brief little opening theme out and replaced it completely with a more sitcom-y thing. Which I'm not really sure how I feel about it. But other than that, hey, season 2 is the perfect time to try to retool your show. Maybe that's what they're doing here. Remains to be seen. Watch the rest of the season to find out.
Yeah, we will. I've also started watching Ted Lasso again.
Okay.
I was figuring something new to watch. I couldn't. So I was like, okay, I'll put Ted Lasso on.
Yeah.
Trying to get the doctor to watch it.
Okay. One thing I'm shocked that you're not talking about here. A new Gordon Ramsay show premiered over last week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you not watch that? I don't remember what it's called.
Oh, it's called Next Level Chef.
Next Level Chef. Thank you. Yeah, I'm surprised you don't have feedback about this. I felt like you would be right on with this.
Oh, I watched it. Do I want to try to give my feedback on it?
I mean, what is it?
It's the next Gordon Ramsay cooking show.
Yeah, what is it?
It's called Next Level Chef. Gordon Ramsay with Richard Blaze and third chef.
Who's Richard Blaze? Besides a really good name
Blaze
for a guy
Pizza?
who... Oh, he's the... I almost made that as a joke, but he is the guy who made Blaze Pizza?
His name spelled differently, but yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
He's always on like Guys Grocery Games. Richard Blaze?
I don't watch it a lot.
Oh, okay. But he's like always on like making the talk show circuit. Richard Blaze.
Yeah, again.
Typically he has glasses on. No?
No, nothing.
All right. He's from Australia. Well, no, that's Curtis Stone.
No one helping me.
That's Curtis Stone from Australia.
All I know, the only Food Network personalities I know are Big Strong Guy.
Mission Impossible guy?
Yeah. Mission Impossible guy. Restaurant Impossible guy.
Yes. And Guy.
And Guy, yeah, because he's Guy.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Speaking of which, I guess I technically did also watch something new this week.
Is it Guy's next big chef thing?
I watched 10 minutes of that and bailed.
Yes.
Holy shit. I could not stand anyone on that show.
Guy's Chance of a Lifetime?
Yeah, that thing. The premise sounds cool, right? It's Master Chef, but with Guy. Kind of.
It's running a restaurant, but with Guy.
Okay, so it's not Master Chef, it's Hell's Kitchen with Guy.
Hell's Kitchen with Guy.
But I couldn't even get past the intros because after like they initially started like basically arguing with each other at the conference table, I was like, I hate all these people. I cannot watch this.
It's The Apprentice, but with Guy.
Oh, it's insufferable is what it is. So I'm not talking about that here.
Oh yeah, I got through that first episode.
Oh, I don't know.
And
how
at the
you
end,
did.
I was like,
no,
wait. All I did was just a lunch rush.
Yeah.
What else can they do? How far can they stretch this?
That's the problem with that show is that it's not like there's not enough.
Right, because it's focused around Guy's chicken restaurant.
Yeah. So I couldn't do it. Yeah. So we did not watch that. Right. I mean, even if we did.
I did watch it, but I also did put it on here because I was like,
no.
How they try to squeeze all this
excruciating.
Yep. Oh, but they are doing a Guy Hawaiian Style, which was originally a Discovery
yes, you
Plus.
mentioned that last week.
Yeah.
Too.
Well, they're showing it on Food Network now.
Well, there you go.
Because of course they are. Eventually, I was going to make it there.
Yeah.
Anyways, wrapping back around what we were talking about.
Yes, sorry.
Next Level Chef is Gordon Ramsay's newest project of intrigue, competition. They split everyone up into 3 mentorships like they did with Master Chef Season 10.
Yeah.
But they all have the same ingredients. It's just a matter of where they are on the level. Are they like the pristine kitchen, the home kitchen, or the down and out, I've got to scrape by here kitchen? Yeah. And they send different foods on this elevator shaft type thing where the top level gets all the best ingredients, and then it doesn't. And then you slowly get like trying to transform bad ingredients into like good meals. It's interesting. I think someone really wanted to like make a 3-layered cake into like a set design.
Okay.
And then like shoot food up and down. What was it called? There's a movie on Netflix similar to this style where people like live in this like dungeon-esque world. And, like people on the top like eat good, and then as the elevator goes down, people like eat like less like the scraps.
Oh, okay.
It's a movie on Netflix. I think someone took that idea and said, "Hey, let's turn that into a game show. Let's get Gordon Ramsay so he can yell at people."
It sounds like they took maybe the wrong lesson from that.
Oh yes, they definitely did. It's supposed to be like a socially
maybe
economic
some commentary got a little slip through the cracks there.
Yeah, said, "Oh no, that's a neat design. Let's make that a competition."
That's great. It's like those people who watch Squid Game and what were they? They were selling merchandise or something like that, or whatever. I forget what it was, but there was something similar to like somebody who just completely missed the point of Squid Game.
It took Squid Game.
Oh, that's what it was. It was the guys who went viral on TikTok for making real Squid Games. Like, we're gonna play the games in real life, guys. Won't it be fun? Missing the point.
Let's shoot you with paintballs instead.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was missing the point of Squid Game completely. It's like, no, you don't want to play these games, guys.
Anyways, yeah. So yeah, Next Level Chef, Gordon Ramsay, Richard Blaze. It's interesting what they come up with, but also cooking competition.
Okay, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, not as much yelling though.
No,
as I would have liked, but maybe more yelling to come.
More yelling than MasterChef.
Not as quite because they have to work together.
When is MasterChef and or Hell's Kitchen coming back?
Well, those are summer things.
Yeah, I felt like
that's after like all the sitcom shows and seasons.
All right.
No. We got the return of TV coming back soon. With like your typical hour-long dramas, 911, Good Doctor,
right.
Chicago's Wednesdays,
all the Chicagos,
all the NCISs,
yeah. Oh God, network TV is becoming so stagnant at this point. Real quick before we move off TV, I just remembered one news story we didn't cover because it hasn't been confirmed, but it seems like all points are pointing to this happening. The CW, it looks like it might be on the chopping block.
Oh, you mean down here under notes for later?
Okay, yeah. So I just want to
mention the show. I'm watching this.
I just want to mention that we have an eye on that story. It looks like there's a possibility that Warner might be selling that off.
Yes. So that was a joint venture between what was CBS at the time,
right?
Or it was Viacom.
So yes, Viacom. So they still technically do own part of that pie. So it'll be between the two of them what they're going to do. But we'll keep an eye on that and report when there's final.
That's on my notes for later. Yes. Eventually we'll get there.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure you had it.
Yep.
All right. In that case, let's move on into cancellations and renewals. No cancellations or renewals this week.
Yeah, I haven't seen any cancellations yet since like the week before Christmas.
Given some time to settle, I think.
So this upcoming week, people should be getting back into work, back into the industry.
Yeah.
We'll actually talk about that in movies as productions start to pick up again.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see productions not picking up again.
Maybe. But in the meantime, we do have a few deaths we have to talk about this week. The first one, big one, Sidney Poitier, age 94, famous actor of Lilies in the Field and The Heat of the Night, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and of course, most notably, the first African-American man to win an Oscar back in 1963. People our age might remember when Denzel Washington won. He was only the second and did a little shout out to Sidney Poitier in his acceptance speech.
Not just won the Oscar, but one for Best Actor.
Yeah, Best Actor, sorry.
Yeah, not
be specific.
Yeah, be specific.
But yeah, definitely a legend of film and television, will definitely be missed. He was kind of an elder statesman of a lot of industries within the industry, kind of in the back, kind of like calling a lot of shots. And I think the industry was better for it. He was a good source of leadership and legacy, and will forever be remembered as really confirming just black history in film. Like,
don't be surprised if this gets the loudest claps in the in memoriam.
Oh yeah, this was very, very important. We move on. Something else pretty important. Peter Bogdanovich, age 82, director, actor, and writer, responsible for films like The Last Picture Show, What's Up, Doc, and Paper Moon. Yes, another legend of direction and in the film industry. Definitely will be missed.
Yep.
Then lastly, Jay Wolpert, age 79, a TV producer for The Price is Right, and a screenwriter, wrote on Pirates of the Caribbean and The Count of Monte Cristo.
Wrote the original dress for them.
Oh, okay.
For Pirates of the Caribbean, before Disney
yes.
got its hands on it.
Right. Okay, cool. Let's move. Well, not cool, but you know what I mean. Let's move on to our movie section where we'll wrap up the show. We always start movies with the weekend box office numbers. No surprise here. Spider-Man for a third week. No Way Home is your number one movie. $56 million, adding to a $613 million domestic total. Woo! Hot stuff.
Is it going to slow down?
No, probably not. Number two coming in with $20 million is Sing 2. That's at 90. That will hit 100 guaranteed. Yep. The King's Man, number three. $4.5 million, $19 million total domestic. Still hanging in there, barely. 4, American Underdog, $3.9 million. Surprise hit of January, $14 million domestic.
You know, it's that football season. Like, you want to go see a football movie?
Yes, so.
Go see Kurt Warner.
And then struggling to keep up with Kurt Warner, The Matrix Resurrections rounds out your top 5 with $3.8 million, only sitting at $30 million. Disappointing, I'm sure, for Warner Brothers.
Disappointing in terms of those numbers, but streaming,
maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
There is no confirmed sequel, and numbers like that will not confirm it either.
Yep. All right. We talked about that last week. A couple of new releases for this coming Friday, the 14th. Scream, the reboot of the Scream franchise. Probably
different Scream.
Going for your big hit. If you want to catch up on the Scream films, I believe they're on Peacock.
Yes.
We might do that. Christy's never seen Scream 1 or 2. I've never seen Scream 2. I've seen Scream 1.
So, Scream 1's a classic.
Yeah, exactly. So I told her she had to see.
Flips the tropes on.
I've only seen 1 and 4, which is funny because 4 is reflexive to 1.
Yes.
So yeah, we might have to do a night of Scream this week. And then you have some sort of Sesame Street thing here. I've not heard of this. What is this?
So this is a new Sesame Street film that says it's coming out on the 14th.
I've not heard anything.
Starring Anne Hathaway.
What?
And the people, oh yeah, you gotta look this up.
Yeah.
The people on Sesame Street are apparently going to be evicted and they have to like raise money to keep Sesame Street right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How come no one is talking about
Big
this?
Bird.
Bo Burnham. Rumored.
Chance the Rapper.
I don't think this is actually coming out because it says it's still in pre-production on IMDb.
I don't know. It says coming out. So.
I'm gonna go with no because there's been absolutely nothing about this.
Right. I mean, on the calendar it says coming out.
I think this was a placeholder. I don't think this is actually coming out.
The placeholder.
I'm gonna say no. I don't think this is actually coming out this week.
Okay, then expect a Sesame Street movie to come out eventually.
Yeah. So Scream is your movie this week. That is, we know for sure, a movie this week.
Yep.
All right, that's it for new releases. Let's move on.
Speaking of calendar, Morbius supposed to come out end of the month.
Yeah,
got moved
delayed
to April.
Yes. Let's move on.
All right.
Into the boot turn.
No. That was right.
Anyway.
No. Put that back. That was right.
Take your word for it. All right. Our first story takes us to the wonderful world of Disney Plus, where they get another streaming exclusive that didn't used to be.
Yep.
Turning Red, Pixar's upcoming film, is making it a boot turn, as you've said.
Yes.
And will stream exclusively on Disney Plus on March 11th. This will not be part of a Premier Access launch. Instead, will be free for all Disney Plus subscribers. This, of course, was originally slated to be a theatrical release. Disney has taken its theatrical release completely, thrown it in the trash, and is now a Disney Plus exclusive. This follows Soul and Luca in skipping theatrical releases in favor of direct screaming. Direct to screaming.
That's what you're going to be doing.
Yeah, that's what Scream. Yeah, that's what we're about Scream. Kareem Daniel, the chairman of Disney Media Entertainment Distribution, said in a statement, quote, "Given the delayed box office recovery, particularly for family films, flexibility remains at the core of our distribution decisions as we prioritize delivering the unparalleled content of the Walt Disney Company to audiences around the world." Meanwhile, Domi Shi, who created the adorable Pixar short Bao, is the director of the film, and it marks Shi's directorial debut and also the first Pixar movie, about time, to be solo directed by a woman. It took this long. However, don't be surprised. Pixar's next film, Lightyear, based on the toy, not not based on the toy, based on the real life person the toy is based on.
Yes.
Still slated for a theatrical run on June 17th, meaning they have quite a double standard on their hands, don't they?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, untangle this web a little bit. What are we looking at here? Why, in a world where Sing 2 is the number 2 film at the box office for 2 weeks straight, is Disney saying that there's not a market for family films right now?
Because Encanto is not in your top 5.
But Encanto came out in November.
Yes, but Encanto also got everyone to watch it when it went to Disney Plus and not when it was in theaters.
Do you think that's what's fueling this move?
No, I think it's just because it's Pixar and they can do whatever they want with
That's what people are saying. So this has become very controversial with choice. A lot of people are saying that there's a zero faith feeling in Disney about Pixar's original properties right now, that they feel like Pixar's insistence on doing original movies is like shooting themselves in the foot. That seems to be the vibe that Disney is giving.
Which is funny because you point to Coco and say that thing was a hit.
Also,
you point to Inside Out and say that thing was a hit.
One of the most important Pixar movies that established the modern Pixar, in my mind, is Finding Nemo, which was original and made more money than any other Pixar film had up to that point.
Oh, see, I think we're going to go before that to Monsters, Inc.
I mean, yes, but Finding Nemo was the turning point.
Yeah, it was the Oscar thing.
It made so much more money. And so, yeah, it's like I just don't understand if they're looking at history. Like, yes, I realize Sing 2 is a sequel, but that doesn't mean that a Pixar film can't do a bunch of money at the box office right now. It's inexplicable. It doesn't make any sense. They just got burned so bad by Encanto that they're afraid now. I don't know.
I mean, Luca and Soul, depending on where you landed on them, could have also done the exact same thing.
Yeah,
Encanto.
But again, it was a different story then. The box office hadn't recovered to the point. We hadn't had Spider-Man to come in and say, "Hey,
people go back further to Onward as well."
Yeah,
because that was also an original IP.
Right, and the last time they theatrically released a Pixar film.
So yeah, those are the last 3 films then, right?
Yeah,
we're not missing one.
Right, that's correct. Those are the last 3.
So past Toy Story 4, it's Onward, Luca, Soul.
Yeah.
And now Turning Red.
Onward, Soul, Luca.
Yeah, Onward, Soul, Luca.
Yeah.
Turning Red.
I don't know. I think they maybe are undercutting its success a little bit here. That being said, this is a win for me because it means I get to see Turning Red week 1 and on my birthday.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not bad. But yes, the double standard with Lightyear, however, is hilarious because of course the thing with the franchise that people recognize is going to be theatrically released still. Now, if that fails, I think they really need to rethink their strategy.
They also have the name behind it with Chris Evans as the lead character.
Right.
Lead voice actor.
And the marketing, because Turning Red, beyond a few trailers, is not getting the push yet. Maybe that's to come, but we'll see. I feel like I heard more about Luca prior to its release than I'm hearing about Turning Red. Right. So, yeah, I don't know if they're sending this thing out to die, which is the vibe I think a lot of people are getting. So we'll see.
I don't know. I love Bao as a short.
Yeah, Bao was cute. Bao was really good. So I have high hopes for Turning Red.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move on to our second story here about another Netflix pickup, Roald Dahl.
Well, we talked about the end of last year, how Netflix purchased the Roald Dahl library catalog to be turned into films.
And here's the payoff. Roald Dahl's short story collection will be the first of his works to be adapted. The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar and 6 More. And guess what? They're pulling out the big guns. They've signed on Wes Anderson to direct the adaptation. With the big name, of course, comes with big stars, including Benedict Cumberbatch, Dev Patel, Ralph Fiennes, and Ben Kingsley being added to the cast. Anderson wrote the script and is directing the adaptation, which is set to start shooting this month in the UK. He previously adapted Fantastic Mr. Fox as a stop-motion feature in 2009, based on his work of the same name. So there you go. More Wes Anderson Dahl adaptations. I think it's a good fit. I don't know anything about this short story, though.
Benedict Cumberbatch will be playing the titular Henry Sugar, and his character, or at least him himself, will be playing multiple characters across the 6 stories.
Okay.
Kind of the interconnecting person between them.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
And Benedict Cumberbatch has the range for it.
Oh, yeah.
To do it. See Doctor Strange trailer 2.
Yeah. Cool. Sounds all right.
Yep. Somehow this is supposed to connect with the already in production Willy Wonka version going to Netflix.
Yeah.
And for Netflix to set up the Roald Dahl universe on their streaming service.
Because everything has to be of a universe now.
Because everything has to be interconnected.
Everything.
Yeah, you got to have it interconnected. That's what you got to do.
All right. Well, that'll do it for movie news. Did you watch any movies this week?
I was supposed to watch the Netflix film Don't Look Up.
Yes.
With no time on my hands to watch it.
No. All right.
No, I keep flipping floppy between. Do I want to actually sit down and watch this, or do I want to wait to see if any Golden Globe buzz comes from it to actually sit down and watch it?
I do have some time today. You know what? Maybe I'll pull the trigger on that because there's really nothing else.
Right.
So,
I mean, then again, it's like, do I want to watch a 2-hour movie or do I want to watch 4 episodes of Ted Lasso?
Exactly. You have choices to make in life.
Right. Which is why I think Netflix does that, is because after an episode, you have the option to stop right there. Instead of with the movie, it's okay, you got to sit through the whole movie. There's no breaking point.
Yep.
Unless you're watching Hamilton, which there's an intermission right in the middle.
Gotta love an intermission.
Yep.
All right. Well, with that, then, that will wrap up movies and that will wrap up the podcast. So thank you, everybody, for listening to, or watching this week. Mm-hmm. We were live on YouTube. If you tune in, if you want to do so in the future, you can go to youtube.com and search Media Boat Podcast to find our channel. Like, subscribe, whatever you want to do. I'm not going to judge you if you don't. And you can watch archives of our previous live and recorded episodes, as well as get notifications for when we go live on typically Saturday mornings with new ones. If you're an audio listener only, don't worry. We haven't left you in the dust in 2022. You can still listen to us in podcast form on many of your favorite podcast services, such as Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, among many, many others. Just search Media Boat Podcast and you'll find us. You can also catch our year-end wrap-up episodes in that feed. We wrapped up the year in movies, television, video games, and music, as well as the year in everything else, including politics and our own lives, in a short 5-episode series we did the last week of the year. You can check all of that out as well on our podcast feed. If you want to see us on social media, we're on services such as Twitter, at MediaBoatCast is our handle there. We'll post whenever live episodes go up, or when recorded episodes go up, I should say. And then you can also find us on
Facebook, Google Play, Apple, Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, everywhere.
And last but not least, if you have any questions, comments, anything feedback related, anything at all you want to say to us, mediaboatpodcast@gmail.com is the email address you can send messages to, and we will read them on the air if we get them. So please, hey, say hi. Say hi in the new year. We're here to help. So yeah.
That'll do it for us.
That'll do it.
I'll wrap up.
Yeah.
Episode 2 of season 6.
Episode 312 of Media Boat Podcast. We'll be back for episode 313 next week with more thoughts, more news, everything that you love. We'll be back with more next week. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Yep, we'll be back next week. I'll see you guys then. All right. Bye. And stop with the live stream.
Bye.
I told my hair to go down.
Wonderful.